Jim Marshall, businessman. James Charles Marshall, OB 29 July 1923 5 April 2012, known as the Father of Loud or the Lord of Loud, was an English businessman and pioneer of guitar amplification. His company, Marshall Amplification, has created equipment that is used by some of the biggest names in rock music, producing amplifiers with an iconic status. In 2003, Marshall was awarded an OB at Buckingham Palace for services to the music industry and to charity. In 2009, he was given the freedom of the borough of Milton Keynes for his work in the community. Early life. Marshall was born in Acton, West London, in 1923, into a family which included boxers and music hall artists. As a child, he was diagnosed with tubercular bones and spent many years in hospital. His formal education suffered as a consequence. During WW2, he was exempt from military service due to his poor health. He became a singer and then, due to the shortage of available civilian musicians, doubled as a drummer. In his day job as electrical engineer, he built a portable amplification system so his light, crooning vocals could be heard over his drums. I was making 10 shillings 50 pence a night, and because it was wartime, we didn't have any petrol for cars, so I would ride my bicycle, with a trailer behind it, to carry my drum kit and the PA cabinets which I had made. I then left the orchestra to be with a 7-piece band, and in 1942 the drummer leader was called into the forces and I took over on drum. In the 1950s, Marshall became part of the English music scene and started teaching other drummers, including Mitch Mitchell, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Mickey Waller, Little Richard, and Mick Underwood, the Outlaws with Ritchie Blackmore. Marshall commented, "I used to teach about 65 pupils a week, and what with playing as well, I was earning in the early 1950s somewhere in the region of £5,000 a year at 2012 to £108,000, which was how I first saved money to go into business." Marshall Amplification. From 1960, Marshall owned a moderately successful music store in Hanwell, West London, selling drums and then branching out into guitars. His many guitar-playing customers, including Ritchie Blackmore, Big Jim Sullivan, and Pete Townshend, spoke of the need for a particular kind of amplifier, with Townshend wanting something bigger and louder, and Marshall saw the opportunity, founding Marshall Amplification in 1962, with Dudley Craven and Ken Brann as assistants. Using a Fender Bassman as a starting point, it took them 6 attempts to create an amp, the Marshall JTM 45, that Jim Marshall was happy with. As the company grew, Marshall expanded his products and unveiled the Master Volume Marshall amps and the classic Marshall JCM 800 split-channel amps introduced in 1981. Soon after he started production, musicians including Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page were using his equipment. The Marshall stack, a wall of black, vinyl-clad cabinets, one atop the other, was seen as the physical embodiment of rock's power, majesty, and excess. A Marshall features in the famous amp scene in the 1984 mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, with guitarist Nigel Tufnell claiming his Marshall's volume knob went one louder, to a unique setting of 11 on the dial. In response, Marshall set about producing models that could be cranked up to 20. Awards and honors. In 1984, Marshall was awarded the Queen's Award for Export, an honor bestowed by Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom in recognition of Marshall Amplification's outstanding export achievement over a 3-year period. In 1985, Marshall was invited to Hollywood to add his handprints to the Rock and Roll Walk of Fame. In 2003, Marshall received an OB honor from Buckingham Palace for services to the music industry and to charity. On 19 March 2009, he was given the freedom of the borough of Milton Keynes. Marshall was a member of the Grand Order of Water Rats. Charities and endowments. Jim Marshall donated millions of pounds to the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital in Stanmore, London, where he was treated for tuberculosis as a child. Marshall also supported a number of causes in his local community in Milton Keynes, such as Marshall Milton Keynes Athletic Club and Willen Hospice, while also being a supporter of the MK Dons Football Club. Marshalls were one of the earliest shirt sponsors for Milton Keynes Dons. Marshall was a member of the Grand Order of Water Rats, serving in office for the Charitable Entertainment Fraternity. The 400-seat Jim Marshall Auditorium at the Stables Theatre, Waveton. Death, legacy, and tribute. Jim Marshall died on 5 April 2012 at a hospice in Milton Keynes. He was 88 years old. Musicians including Paul McCartney, Dave Mustaine, and Nikki Sixx paid tribute. Marshall has been cited, along with Leo Fender, Les Paul, and Seth Lover, as one of the four forefathers of rock music equipment. The Download Festival named their main stage for him at the 2012 festival. Every year on 5 April, guitarists from all over the world post videos containing 1 minute of feedback instead of 1 minute of silence as a tribute. On 6 April 2013, musicians and music lovers held a tribute music festival in Hanwell, West London, the town where Jim Marshall sold his first amplifier. A plaque was unveiled near the site.